Well, happy Friday, everybody. It is a rare Friday live appearance from yours truly, Nikki Stees, both like my channel and the Hardcore Sports Network. Yes, sir. And I'll start this off by dropping the links to the channels in the chat. And so you can sub it up. And yes, I'm here to talk about Week 3 Eagles Bucks preview. Now, normally so far the first 2 weeks I did it on the Tuesday Sports Talk from the Heart, but this time I decided to wait because this time around there's going to be I wanted to see what the injury report was because it wasn't ready yet, but we're getting closer to the game. We got a better illustration of the injury report. It seems like it's likely Bradbury's going to play, but I'll get more into that later. But there's the link to the Hardcore Sports Network. You can sub up the channel and the link to my channel. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So yes, sir. We have Week 3, Philadelphia Eagles versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium, 7:15 Monday night. Going into this matchup, both teams are 2-0. And despite both of us being 2-0, we are pretty heavy favorites. Last time I checked, we're favorites minus the 4.5. About a little over 12 hours ago, like early this morning, according to BetMGM FanDuel. So the odds are in our favor right now, despite the fact both teams are 2-0. But the reason why that is if you look closer at the matchup, you realize I don't think the Bucs aren't as good as they look on paper. Now, I'm not saying they're scrubs and pushovers either, but I'll get more into that in a minute. Yes, they are 2-0. And Baker Mayfield hasn't playing good so far considering the circumstances. I'll give him that. And hey, that defense is pretty good, and they can be a challenge. I'll give them that. But if you look at it, they did pull off victories against the Minnesota Vikings, who we also defeated. So we have that in common. And then the Chicago Bears were looking like it's going to be a repeat of last year. And Justin Fields, I don't know. I'm not really sure if he's going to be the answer for Chicago. But the point I'm getting at is, yes, the Bucs are 2-0, but they've also won 2 games against it's an underachieving Vikings team and a Bears team that might be in the top 5 worst teams in the league for the second straight year. Because last year they were supposed to have the number 1 pick, and they might be stuck in a similar position again. And the Bucs, but now they're stepping up against the Eagles, we're going to have to see how they're going to do, because even though the Eagles haven't been playing perfect so far, hey, we're a much more talented team than the Vikings and the Bears. So now it's time for Tampa Bay to step up. Let's see what they can do against us. I mean, sure, they have won the last 4 meetings against us, including the playoff game in 2021, but those are different circumstances. Those don't matter right here. So I'm not even going to get into the history of that because that don't matter. It's 2023. And you got the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles, their head coach, a good defense, Mike Evans, who, let me just put it out there. If you're talking future Hall of Famers that are playing currently, you got to consider Mike Evans, because this dude has had 9 straight full seasons, 1,000+ receiving yards. Okay, that dude is a stud, and if you ask me, a future lock on for Canton for being able to pull that off. So he's obviously their most dangerous weapon, and Baker's gotten comfortable with him through those first couple games. So that's going to be a key factor there in this one too. And also a key factor we got to consider with the Bucs defense is, I mean, considering the Eagles have Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing perfect, this is going to be a tough matchup. Big test for Hurts to step up, because now he's stepping up going against that Bucs team there who's got a good defense. But on the flip side of that, we have weapons on the offense. We have guys like Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert on our side. And not to mention, you have DeAndre Swift in the backfield, and Kenneth Gainwell is going to be back, which I'll get to that more in a second. But the point is, this is a much more loaded offense than what the Bucs defense has faced so far as well. So that's another thing you got to factor on the flip side. So, yeah, on paper, this looks like defensively a pretty even matchup, and the Bucs are a pretty good defense. But at the same time, we are a stronger offense than the other two teams the Bucs have faced. So I also feel confident that we can do more than the Vikings and the Bears going against that team in this matchup. If anyone wonders what I'm sipping on water real quick. That's all. So there's that right there to consider. And also, I feel like for our defense, hey, if we are getting James Bradbury back, it's not official yet, but it appears likely we're getting him back. If that's true, that'll help us out in the secondary right there, especially going against Mike Evans because, hello, Raphael, shout out. Thanks for coming by. James Bradbury, we definitely need Bradbury back, especially because then you got two guys you could match up against Evans. You could match up Slay and or Bradbury against them there. And we know with Avonte Maddox being out possibly for the season, it's going to be right. Obviously, you're going to be down a key guy on our secondary. We're definitely going to need all the help we can get. And Darius Slay, he's been balling out so far through a couple weeks, and I give him that. Especially week 1, he was balling out. But also at the same time, we need more than just Darius Slay in that secondary. We can't just rely on him all season while the rest of our guys are getting burnt. So we definitely need healthy guys in there. And James Bradbury is definitely a key piece that we need. So hopefully he'll be back there. And like I said, you also got another guy you can match up against Evans. There's two guys you can match up against him in Slay or Bradbury, or as I call it, Slayberry Island. Oh, yeah, but yep, that joke's back, folks. But yes, there's one key piece right there. Another thing is, too, with injury report, Kenneth Gainwell, it's believed it's pretty much all but confirmed he's going to play Monday. So now here's the thing, because remember, DeAndre Swift, his performance against the Vikings, he was getting those carries mainly because, Kenneth Gainwell wasn't there, whereas week 1 when both were healthy, they went with Gainwell as the number 1 back. But that's not going to work this time around, personally. I think, personally, you got to go, even with both guys healthy, you got to go DeAndre Swift as your number 1 back, because you saw week 1 versus week 2 with our offense, how we looked with Kenneth Gainwell getting the number 1 back carries versus DeAndre Swift getting the number 1 back carries. Swift was clearly the more effective back. That's no disrespect to Kenneth Gainwell, but if you saw the 2 games, week 1 against the Pats, week 2 against the Vikings, clearly the offense was doing more giving the ball to Swift. And Swift went for nearly 200 yards. You definitely got to give him the carries in this one. And you can definitely incorporate Gainwell, mainly in short yardage situations. But you got to go with Swift, DeAndre Swift as your number 1 back. You saw what he can do in that role. Keep feeding him the rock. And that's going to be one of my keys to victory when we get to that part later. So it's good that we're at least getting some guys back, though. That'll help us out. Kenneth Gainwell, he can still add a bit to the run game. Wow. Going with DeAndre Swift as the 1 back. Bradbury looks like he's back. So that's good right there. Now, another key thing is this offensive line for the Buccaneers is the one, and their run game too. Their run game's all right, solid, but their passing game has been where they gotten most of their efficiency on offense out of these first 2 weeks. But the thing is, their offensive line's a little shaky, but fortunately for them, they had to go up against the Bears and Vikings. But for the Eagles, now you're going against the team with Fletcher Cox, Joshua Sweat, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I mean, this is going to be a dangerous one right there. And then you have Hassan Reddick. While granted, Reddick's been off to a slow start so far. Remember, Reddick really didn't start to get going until around week 4 last year. Remember that. So there's a possibility week 3 could be the week Hassan Reddick steps up his game. Because remember, he was a little slow start last year, but he stepped up his game late September, early October. So we could be seeing that again here. So that could be. So let's hold hope that Hassan Reddick comes back to form. Especially we're going to need that with our linebacker as well. And And now, as far as the offense goes, like I said, we can definitely got to give the ball to DeAndre Swift, make him our number one back. And another thing, too, is just get the ball to whoever's open. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's because there's the whole drama with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts over A.J. not getting the ball, but the two best passes from that game went to Devontae Smith, one for a long touchdown last week. I think A.J. Brown, there is a little bit of ego involved with it. He wants to keep getting the ball. But at the same time, I'm not really worried about it because AJ and Jalen are friends. And the reason I'm addressing this now is because I didn't get to it last week because I didn't get to it on Tuesday, so I'm going to get to that now. But yes, those two guys are friends. So I think personally it's going to blow over and they'll be on the same page. They will. But just be careful, make sure. I mean, I think they're blowing it out of proportion for the media, just to have something to talk about, making it out to be a bigger deal than it really is. However, though, please just, if you're Jalen Hurts, don't try to force the ball to A.J. Brown and make terrible mistakes. Like, don't try to force it, like, oh, I got to get to A.J., I got to get to A.J. to make him happy. But then what happens is you run the risk of forcing bad passes. So don't try to force the ball to A.J. Brown. Just hit whoever's open there. When he goes to throw, if Smitty's the open guy, just go to him. If AJ's the open guy, go to him. If Watkins the open guy, go to him. If it's Goddard, go to him. I mean, if it's Swift or Gainwell in the backfield on a screen, go to them. Just go to whoever's open. Don't really worry about trying to force the ball to anyone. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just making that a point. That's all. This matchup right here, I want to see because thing is with that, like I was saying, that Bucs O-line, I don't really think they're going to hold up that well if we bring the heat. And I think that once you get the pressure on Baker Mayfield, he's going to come crashing down a little bit from what he was doing weeks 1 and week 2. So I think that'll help us out right there. And that's why a lot of the odds makers have us at 4.5-point favorites because it's like, yeah, the Bucs have won their 2 games, but they're going against weak teams that don't have the type of talent the Eagles have around them. Now, granted, of course, we all know these things any given Sunday, or in this case, Monday, anything. But you know what? We're clearly the more talented team. We should go out there and take care of business. Just give me one moment. I'll be right back. Just got a sip of water. All right, I'm back now. And now we're going to go over the injury report a little bit. Let's go over the injury report and see where we stand as of Friday. I'm looking. I'm scrolling, looking for the latest injury. Okay, got Fox Sports 18 hours ago. Okay, that's a most recent one. So I'm going to look at that right there. And then I'm just laughing at the side story. It says, next story. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift dating rumors are 100% true per Jason Kelce. Hey, you know what? I personally don't care. I mean, it's none of my business. All I can say is if Travis is happy doing so, good for him. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. But hey, we got some Eagles Buccaneers to talk about, so let's get to it. I mean, I don't know what's going on with you guys, if you're going by slow or not, because my screen's running a little slow. I don't know if that's affecting my voice in the video and affecting reaction time, but all right, let's get to it. So Eagles injuries, got Kenneth Gainwell. As of right now, it's not sure, but he is likely. He'll at least be in the game, but he does have a rib injury. Boston Scott, unknown. He's not participating. I don't see him coming back. Quez Watkins, not sure. Bradbury, nothing's been officially confirmed yet, as you can see. Reed Blankenship, unknown. Zach Cunningham, unknown. Jordan Davis, unknown, but he'll probably play. Some of these guys that are at least participating, practice like Sweat, Davis, Cox, they'll probably come make it game time. Devontae Smith, he'll probably play. So, I mean, it looks a lot scarier, I think, than it really is. For the Bucs, Carlton Davis. It might be this, then Vita Vea's got a pectoral. Because I was about to mention in my Keys to Victory, we got a double team Vita Vea. Because that Vita Vea guy, when he's on the field, he is a difference maker for that Bucs defense. A lot of people don't realize just how strong he is. I mean, they look at the fact he's only one Pro Bowl nod, kind of let that, and they kind of let him slip through their mind like, oh, well, he's solid. No, that dude is a wrecker on that defensive line. He's a difference maker for them. Sure, his Pro Bowl nods may not reflect it, but he is. And Ryan Neal, safety, unknown, limited from participation. Got Khalid Kancey, defensive line. And he's probably not going to play, most likely. The same thing with linebacker Servotia Dennis. Hamstring injury, did not participate. I think in the Bucs defense is banged up. Some of their guys might not be playing, but then again, some of them might. And the same goes with us. So some of the guys on that injury report, they might still be playing. But yeah, that's where the injury report stands at now. So for us, they haven't officially confirmed anything yet. But it does seem like it's likely, though, that that Bradbury will be playing. It's likely that Gainwell will be playing. I hope that's true, but either way, we're not going to know for sure until Monday night. But now we're going to get to the end of this right here. We're going to go through the keys to victory. So I'm going to go through my keys to victory and then close it out right here. I'm also going to encourage you guys to drop a score prediction in the chat right here for what you got in this one. Now, so my keys, so we're going to go through the keys to victory. One of the keys to victory I alluded to earlier was blitz. Okay, blitz. Get at Baker Mayfield. You got the talent there on the defensive line. The Buccaneers have a questionable offensive line. You get to him, get to Baker Mayfield, get a few sacks, force him to make throws he doesn't want to make. Force him to make those throws he's unsure about. He'll make him force him to make those unconfident throws, and trust me, he'll fall off. He will. He'll falter. That's one key right there. So if you can do that, you minimize his efficiency and force him to make mistakes. You can get the team off the field, give the ball back to the offense. Maybe get some sacks, maybe get some fumbles too, because we've gotten several fumbles too. So sure, Baker hasn't turned over the ball yet, but if he faces that type of pressure he hasn't faced yet, this could be the week he makes that first turnover. So I think right there, that's one thing right there. Definitely get to him. And I get a feeling if we get to him, he'll have at least his first, maybe his second turnover, or even third possibly of the season. But I'm thinking we'll at least get one turnover on Baker at least. Another key to victory is we got to keep that defense healthy. It is. Because we saw last week against the Vikings, late in the game when some of our defensive players were, when we lost Avonte Maddox, you saw it started to catch up to us, particularly our secondary, being Slade the only real reliable option we had. They were getting to us late in the fourth quarter, and they narrowly, they made it a narrow loss and nearly came back. And then, right, so we got to keep that defense healthy. It's just not just for this game, but throughout the season period, especially in this matchup. And if it's true that Bradbury's coming back, look, we could definitely use him, but we got to stay healthy. We can't afford to be losing guys due to injury because that's not going to bode well here for our defense. So we got to do that. Another key is simple. Play disciplined football. Look, that just means, simply put, don't make stupid penalties. Don't overthink and make terrible decisions. Make smart play calling. You know what I'm saying? That's just basically the basics to playing disciplined football, and that's always a key. Another key, I alluded to it earlier, is on offense when running the ball, give DeAndre Swift the rock. Give him the ball. Let him be the number one back. Let him take on those number one carries. Because if you do that, look, he'll be more effective as the number one back than Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, no disrespect to Kenneth Gainwell, but DeAndre Swift is clearly the better number one back. You saw it last week. So definitely make him the number one back in this situation for sure. Another key to victory is, look, when passing the ball, just go to the open receiver. Don't try to force the ball to A.J. Brown just to keep him happy. I mean, I understand he's a key part of this offense. You want him to stay happy so he can be here. But when the time comes, encourage A.J. Brown to do his thing to get open so that way the ball will go his way. And when he's open and when it's it's the right call, just release the ball, give it to him. But if Smitty's the open guy, go to him. You saw he helped us out last week, and if he's the guy, go to him. If Quez Watkins does end up playing and he's the open guy on a play or two, just go to him. Maybe encourage him to fall on the ball where he catches it so he doesn't fumble, but that's another point. But dude, just go to the open. As long as Quez Watkins doesn't fumble and he's open, go to him. If it's a screen play and your running back's the open guy, go to the running back. That's all you got to do. So for the Eagles in this matchup, I mean, those are some of the main keys right there. Obviously, recap. Got a blitz right there. Keep that defense healthy. Play some disciplined football. Give DeAndre Swift those number one carries and just go to the open guy. Don't try to force passes. And just general for Jalen Hurts. Don't try to force anything. Just his ability to remain calm under pressure last year, ability to read the field and find his guy, helped us out last year. Just do that again. Don't try to make plays, try to force anything. Don't try to play hero ball. Just make the plays you need to make, and it'll work out. Then another key, if Vita Vea does play, you got to shut him down. Maybe you have to double team him right there to minimize his efficiency on right there. But you got to do what you got to do to keep, if he does play, Vita Vea's efficiency to the minimum, because he is a vital piece right there to them. So definitely have a game plan set on the offensive line to shut him down if he plays. So those are my keys to victory for this matchup right here. So if you guys are still here, if you made it this far in the video, feel free to drop a score prediction in the chat. Or if you're catching this on the replay, you can drop a comment in the comment section. Give me your score prediction for this week 3 matchup. Now I got us winning this matchup by a score of, say, 30-16. I think that, that our defensive line will be too much of a match for the Bucs. I think Baker will get exposed. He'll come back down a little bit. You'll realize that he's just an overall average quarterback. And I think for us right here on offense, I think our defense will get at least 1 turnover, maybe possibly 2. Could help set up a few scoring drives. I think you give DeAndre Swift the rock. That'll help us move the ball downfield. Maybe a few field goals from Jake Elliott thrown in the mix. Maybe a touchdown pass or 2 as well. Maybe you get to Smitty, maybe AJ, maybe Goddard gets in on it. But you know what? I'm thinking we get this win, maybe 30-16. Maybe the Bucs will keep it close at some point. Or maybe we'll start off close and then we'll pull away as the game goes along. Or we'll start off strong and the Bucs will maybe put up a little bit of a fight lead and make it close, one or the other. But I still see us getting the win and moving on to 3-0. But I'm looking forward to just getting this matchup over with, get this W, move on to 3-0, keep momentum going our way. And the Giants already lost, so that means they're at the bottom of the division after a loss to the Niners, and they look like they're in trouble. You also still got the Cowboys here. But the Cowboys are playing the Cardinals. That should be an easy win for them to go to 3-0. So you're probably expecting the Cowboys to win, so it's important for us to win. Yeah, Commanders are playing Buffalo. They'll probably come crashing down, take their first loss. But I feel like we should at least get the win so we can stay tied at first with the Cowboys, because I feel like they're going to beat the Cardinals. So, yeah, I definitely think it's important to get the win, help us stay at top of the NFC East, because it's going to come down to us and the Cowboys again. It is. So it's important to win as many games as possible so we have that advantage similar to last year, especially for us as our schedule gets tougher as the season goes along. Let's just get this win against the Bucs, the point I'm getting at, all right? So to everyone that tuned in, I want to say thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode right here. If you haven't done so already, drop a like, subscribe to both my channel and the Hardcore Sports Network. One last time, I'll show the links. That's to the Hardcore Sports Network. Then to my channel over on my channel. You can sub them up. You haven't done so yet. So yeah, everyone in the watch course, thank you. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. You're going to go out and have fun. Do so safely, especially if there's alcohol involved. Call an Uber, Lyft, taxi, or have a designated sober driver. Fly, Eagles, fly. And until next time, Nicky Stees signing off.